Hey guys, it's Ted Bogert. Welcome back to the TED Show. I am beyond excited and honored and just thrilled to have an old friend. She's not old, but we've been friends a long time. The amazing Dr. Carrie Rose is with us, and you can check her out at ofcourse.us, and that's scrolling across there, of course. See, I told you, Carrie, we're going to do this. We're here to talk about her life, her work, and most importantly, the upcoming The Thing Live. So I'm just honored and excited to have you, Carrie. Welcome.
I'm so happy to be here, Ted. Thank you so much for inviting me to your show and having me come on. And yeah, I'm excited to share with your people. And also, I just miss you. So this is
I know. I miss
been
you. I
too
miss you
long.
guys. We hung out so much there for a while when we were all up on the 18th floor, especially.
Correct.
And so, yes, I miss you. And tell your amazing husband I said hello as well. I know he's in the background. All right. So for those people who don't know who Dr. Carrie Rose is, give them a little 411 on you, a little background on who Dr. Carrie Rose is.
Sure. So the short version is that I'm a wife, a mother, and I've been an entrepreneur now for the last decade, helping people monetize their brilliance and turn it into online programs that people can learn from. I had selective mutism as a child, and I'm still dyslexic. But so for anybody that's listening that doesn't know, selective mutism is just like shy times 1,000, right? Just amp it up, like kind of talks as much as the wall. And I was like that from when I was 4 till 10. And so I didn't read like normal people learned it, right? I didn't learn how until I was in 5th grade. I had one teacher take me from that to the highest standardized test score that school had seen in 1 year's time. So what she taught me was the power of impact that we can create with another human being when we both care and know the right strategies to use. And I spent 10 years in public ed, really just honing in on those strategies and trying to become what Mrs. Taylor was to me for the students that were in my care. And eventually I got to the point where I realized that time was a commodity, right?
Yes.
At some point, like age hits us and we're like, wow, I can only help so many people during the time that I have because I can't clone myself, right? I can only, at that point, help the students that were in my care. So I decided to get my doctorate. I went to UCF. And I thought I'd work for, in public policy, right? Basically, like, how do I do this in a different way? And let's just say I learned very quickly that I wouldn't be as happy doing that. I just feel like for me, that wouldn't have been it. I really do like joy in my life as a part of things too. And so while I'm trying to redirect myself for, I'm writing my dissertation on professional development, trying to figure out my life. In walk 3 internet marketers to a world of beer. And I know there's an SEO joke in there somewhere. And they introduced me to the world of online marketing, internet marketing, affiliate marketing, and really online courses. And I mean, this whole world was going on around me, but I had been so focused for so long on family, on work, on, how it gets.
Yes.
And they introduced me to that. And I found some of the same kinds of difficulties that were happening inside of, my experience in public ed, inside of these online programs, kind of set out as a mission to fix all that. So I've created a process based on over 500 research studies on how the human brain connects to content. We've built out several online programs with some major names in the industry, and have gotten clients up to 97% completion rates when the industry average is 3 to 5%. So I've been doing it for a decade and really just like loving the ride. And I learn a lot of stuff. So
what's fascinating about I think a lot of people would want to know more, and maybe one day we can do a whole show on courses and that, because I find that fascinating. First of all, I feel like there's a lot of shysters out there in all of our industries, but certainly there's a lot of, God forbid you click once on them, I'm interested in a course on Instagram, and your feed is constantly there 24/7. And a lot of those people can't be checked. You're not really sure what you're getting. People are purchasing courses, and yet they can't get a hold of the people later on. It's kind of a wild west out there. What I love about what you all have created is there's not only is there substance, but there's a foundation, and you guys are accessible. You're all over the place. People know how to reach you, and you have a passion for it. This isn't just some extracurricular thing that you have chosen to do. This is a passion for you. And so kudos to you all. And I'd love to do a whole kind of tease seminar or webinar on that, because what you do and the impact that you make. Kudos to you guys, truly.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little bit about the courses themselves. So of -course.us, when somebody goes there, when they're checking it out now while they're watching the show, or they go on afterward, what are they going to find?
Really, it's just more about us and our process and some of the people that we've worked with. So I don't sell other people's programs on my website. It's not an affiliate site. It's not set up like that. So really, it's just more like home base and how to get in touch with us, sort of a thing. But, if they're looking at, examples of people that we've worked with, there's some really nice case studies on there. But I don't retain the rights to individuals' programs once I help build them. So like when I'm working with a client. What?
Sorry, if somebody has an idea. Sorry, there's a little delay on my end. My apologies. If someone has an idea, that you're the person to come to. So if they've got an idea, they want to bring it to life. That was the point I wanted to get across, is that you're not going to find a whole bunch of stuff that Dr. Carrie Rose is selling, Carrie is selling. You're going to find information about them and the people that maybe some of the people they've worked with. And so if you have an idea, you feel good and you want to reach out to them. So if somebody has an idea, is it a long process overall? I know I'm going to get people that are going to want to know, oh my God, Carrie, I've got this fantastic idea. And I want to implement it tomorrow. I mean, you know how we're all in immediate
right. It really depends. There's levels, right? There's levels of involvement and investment in time. And so it kind of depends on which path that they choose. And I've got a couple of different ones that could help them with that. There is one path that we do here in Orlando where clients fly in and we'll build out their program in 4 days. Now, after that, they still have to film it. So just to say that, like, that does take time too. But 4 days of construction as opposed to, well, how long have people been sitting on it is usually the other. There's an investment and I don't know what to do. And then the cost of inaction is actually usually quite higher than an actual monetary investment or investment in time. But I also have a coaching program that's kind of like a work at your own pace. And I've also worked with clients online where, unfortunately those get extended, I think, a little bit farther out than the 4 days. I like the 4 days because it's like you're in, you're out, bada boom, bada bing, it's done.
Yeah. It's intense, but you get it done. I think.
Yeah, it's over.
And they're also probably birthing their idea to you all for the first time, or at least it's finally, they've got some creative. We all have it, right? We all have a dream of how we think we can make an impact, or we could teach, or we could educate, or we've got this great idea we want to share with the world, and we have no idea how to implement it or make it so that it is accessible and sustainable. And that's what you all do. I mean, that must be exciting in those 4 days, or even if you're not dealing in the 4 days and you're dealing with online, just having somebody so excited to talk to someone who's equally as excited about getting their idea out.
It is. It really is. It's special, like it takes so many different forms, and so sometimes people come to me with an idea, and we start from that. And some people come to me with absolutely no idea. They just know they want to do this because they're more like, I keep trading time for money. How can I scale beyond this so I can spend more time with my family, right? And you start to get to a certain point in your life or your career, that becomes a lot more important because time is that one resource we don't get back, And so when you start looking at it from that perspective as an expert or as a thought leader, scaling and monetizing in that way becomes an extremely important facet. What usually ends up happening, which is quite interesting, is that people want to share, or course creators want to share everything they've learned that's gotten them to that point. And really what people want is a wrench, right? They want to buy a wrench. They don't want to buy everything They want you to get them an objective. They want you to get them an outcome. If they can pay $1,000 for a wrench that would have given them relief from a $10,000 problem, they'll take the grand on the wrench, right? Yes. And so putting it that way, when we spend the first part of any kind of like working arrangement trying to figure out, who's their avatar? Like, who is this actually for? Because everything you build in life is for a person. If you have a social media presence, it's for a particular type of person. And that's what you're going to attract more of. So we have to be really intentional with that. But it's also, what does that person want to buy and spend money on? because it's not everything, right? Like I'm a walking internet movie database. You want to play 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon, let's go. But it doesn't help my clients. So we don't really, we're not talking about Robert Downey Jr. You know what I mean? Like, but when people put courses together, they often do that. And so we have to really flip the time exchange, in terms of people want answers faster. And so when I'm creating these programs with my clients, they sometimes get just more direct than where the clients think that they were starting from. So that's what I'm saying. Like sometimes ideation happens on their own, but sometimes it's even better if they're like, I can do a lot. This is how I usually serve people. I can find where the sweet spot is to kind of like remove that time exchange.
And it's such a beautiful thing. Again, I feel like as anybody who's a creative, or even if you don't think you're a creative, but you have this idea, when you're talking to somebody whose purpose in this relationship is help you to see it birth and grow and actually come to fruition, it's emotional. It's an emotional thing. Whenever I have artists on who come on and perform a song that they just wrote or show me a painting they just did, and we talk about the process, just being able to birth that and share that is very emotional.
It really is. I had something special in one of my most recent client sessions. She's the former head of HR for Whataburger, and we're building her program right now. And when she flew in, she said to me, wow, you actually care. Like it hit her so hard that somebody that was in a service provider position, like actually cared about her work and her people. And it's like, for me, it was kind of like pause, like, wait, aren't we supposed to? Like, what have you been dealing with so far? But like, I think that's, for me, for you, for people like us, that really does matter. It matters to me if you get over the finish line. Like it matters to me, the ripple effect that you're able to create outwards based on what we put together, and like, I think
it's so beautiful.
Yeah. Well, I see it as like, what would the world look like if, lots of people create programs like you were saying, like there's a lot out there on the internet. Like there's a click for something, you're going to see it all the time. But like those people that do invest in those programs, they have goals, desires, wishes for their mental, physical, financial, spiritual well-being, for the relationships that they could have with their family if they were able to fix this thing, for the amount of time that they could spend, vacationing if they could fix this thing. Like those are people that want a better life, on whatever level that you're able to give it to them. And for me, it's like, it's a beautiful position to be a part of that process with my clients.
And you can feel it. It's palpable when you talk about it, which is a beautiful, beautiful thing. Speaking of the thing.
Yes, the thing.
Such a subtle transition, Ted. Speaking of the thing, we have The Thing Live. So tell us all about it. I think there's a lot of people who once you share what's going on, you're going to want to be a part of it.
Well, what I would love is I travel and I speak on stages all the time, but there are plenty of events that come to Orlando. I'm not usually at those. I'm usually like in San Diego or Vegas or something like that. And so I'm actually speaking at an event here in Orlando. And I was like, I have to share this with people that are here locally. So I'm excited about it. Well, for one, there's a lot of information out there online on how to build a personal brand and how to monetize your expertise and how to get that kicked off with online marketing. And, it takes time, it takes work, it takes effort. And it's also one of those things, like you were saying, kind of alluding to earlier, it takes discernment too, right? It takes a level of like, who do I go to? Who do I trust? How do I know if I'm in the right room? How do I know if the person that's telling me this has been there, has done that, has helped others with it, right? And so it's, there's always a lot of questions. What I love this event so far, and this is going to be my first year speaking at it. It is designed to help people build those kind of expert brands, right? And so to take whatever the thing is that you have in your heart to do and put it out there into the world. And so for me, like you, it's like a lot of people that want to lift up society, right? In whatever way it is. What I also love about it so far, so I found out about it from the event planner for Social Media Marketing World, which is a huge event in San Diego every year. And he introduced me to the gentleman doing this event. And we hadn't, I didn't really know him. Ted, it was like over a 2-hour conversation. I remember, like, I had just walked back from the Y, and so I was still in my bathing suit at the time, and it was cold and I was freezing. We were still on the phone, just trying to make sure I was the right fit for his people, right? And thought about things in the way of level of care that he would want to put in front of his audience. In addition to that, one of the people that's going to be speaking at the event is actually speaking on FTC regulations. So kind of to the point where you said, like, it's kind of like the Wild Wild West. The FTC is actually cracking down on a lot of things, and you really want to be on the right side of it. So he's going to be sharing from his experience. He wrote a book on it and is going to be sharing from his experience what the FTC is specifically looking for, because they're even rolling out more regulations when it comes to like membership platforms. So you really want to know what is, what you should or should not be doing when it comes to that. We certainly don't want anybody breaking the law while trying to move their business forward, in any way. So, and it's hard to know all of these things. So he's got somebody there that's going to be helping with accounting, with law, with marketing, with, so any person that's looking to expand their personal brand in a way that is going to also help them, increase revenue for existing products and services using online means, but also really leverage that personal brand connection. And potentially, like, where I'd come in is helping with people with, taking what they know and turning it into a program so that they're not on repeat. So anyways, I'm super excited about this event. My husband will also be speaking at it, which is fun. So we get to do something together. Yeah, it happens on occasion. It's not all the time, but sometimes we're both on stage at different times. So that's kind of exciting. There's one event we actually flipped. One year I took it, the next year he took it. That's more likely to happen.
When is the event?
It is this coming weekend. It starts. So, well, Friday, Saturday, Sunday. So the 8th is the first day of it. Yes. And it's over, I can't remember the name of the hotel off the top of my head, but downtown Disney-ish.
Downtown. Well, we've got the link scrolling there, but we'll also have the link below so you guys can click on it and check it out. And so it's 3 days. Yes. Probably intense, but if you're serious about taking it to the next level, I think that the thing is the place you need to be.
Well, also what I love about the speaker selection on this, it's a lot of the people that the heavy hitters are going to, right? And so usually to access them as consultants, the price point's a lot higher. Right. To like get into their knowledge, into their base, and to like really understand their perspectives about things, or how they're getting the people that you're seeing have success, how they're getting those kinds of results. But when we all come into a room like that, there's a lot more opportunity to get your questions answered and actually turn things into action, which is another way that Terry Weaver is really leading this event. So I'm very excited about that too. Like, I've changed my presentation around so that people actually leave with an action point, as opposed to, I just told you a bunch of things. Yes, exactly. Yeah. So a lot more hands-on and moving into the right direction to propel themselves.
I feel like more and more people are really finally recognizing that they are a brand, or have a brand, or have an idea that can be a brand. And so it became so blasé and almost, it was just one of those words that got thrown around. And I feel like more and more people have begun to identify and figure out what that looks like. And, kudos to people like you and platforms like TikTok and all of this, where people really were able to explore and kind of get to figure out their own voice. But you can only usually take that at one level. And then to make it higher, you've got to go to people who have done it before and done it successfully and have a plan and can help you implement a plan, which is what I feel like the thing will do.
Well, certainly. I mean, you see it now, like if you're a real estate agent and you have, you're inside of, I'm not sure exactly the word, Ted, you can help me out, like a firm.
Yes, like a brokerage.
Brokerage, thank you. Right. You still want to be putting yourself out there, right? You still want to have videos of you. You want people to be recognizing your particular name. You want to be the first person that somebody goes to for a listing. Either they're wanting to buy or they're wanting to sell, right? Your name carries those values. Let's say you work inside of a traditional 9 to 5, office job. does that mean that you're stuck with whatever path that they put you on? Or if you built your own personal brand up, would they start to recognize you as that professional thought leader? Would that change your income possibility? Could that change the possibility of you going on your own? I don't think everyone should go on their own. So like, let's, just to say that
Agreed.
it's not for the weak. That's not it. But could you have an additional stream of income, if you had a personal brand, if you had an audience, and it's so fascinating to me. I'm doing this accountability program that I just launched with, some members of my list. And I had this lady show up the other day, and she had about 29,000 followers on Instagram at the beginning of March. She was doing all right, right? Like she had a thing, she was doing it. And she got really niche specific over the summer, just changed some things about the focus of what she was doing. And now I think she has an additional 100,000 followers.
Wow.
We're talking about from March, right? Just, like knowing your audience, knowing what you're doing, like focusing in, and then, learning how to amplify that message and put it out there. But like, what kind of difference does that make between the 29,000 and 129,000, right? In terms of what the impact is that she's going to be able to create. So yeah, it's a lot of these things are about finding the right people to support you. And a lot of these things are about being in the right room with the right people at the right time. So
correct. And you have to continue to evolve and going to the thing or talking to and having a consult with the one and only Dr. Carrie Rose. These are the things that take you to help you evolve. I'm a big believer in that. You can do a whole bunch on your own. I'm not saying you can't, but at some point, somebody has come before you and has ideas and can spark that spark again and help you evolve. And that's why these kinds of things, I keep saying thing, and I'm getting every time. The thing, which kicks off Friday. These are the types of events and these are the type of people that if you really want to grow, I believe you need to align yourself with. And I mean that wholeheartedly. I know Dr. Carrie Rose personally, so I know her passion. And if you haven't picked up on it in the last 20 or so minutes, all right, I need to wake you up because you can feel it. And those are the kinds of people I want to be around when I'm evolving and trying to grow, whatever that looks like for me. But if I know that I need to grow and I want to grow, I need to be around people like you. And of course, I'm buffering just a little bit, Carrie, so don't get crazy. All right. So I always like to end with a personal question. It's not too personal. Don't get worried. I would never.
I'm like, let me tell you about
Ted,
mom. No.
Yeah, we know a lot about each other. No,
Okay.
I feel like it's always important for people who, and I feel like you're here, right? Like as far as courses, and you're an expert, you're a pro. You have really worked on yourself and your craft and honed it, and your purpose. I feel like your purpose comes out in everything that you speak. So when I say the word hero, who is the first person who comes to mind?
My stepdad.
Tell me why.
That Brad Paisley song, "The Man He Didn't Have to Be."
Yes.
He was that. He was everything. He showed me love. He, tried to teach me golf. He showed up every time like without even asking. He was just there. He always knew, and just, if there's any person I could talk to right now, like I wish I could talk to him.
That's beautiful.
Yeah, definitely my hero.
Thank you for sharing that. All right. Yeah. Dr. Carrie Rose, The Thing Live kicks off November 8th. You can follow that link that's scrolling across there, or of course you can click on the link down below and register. You can find Carrie at www.of-course.us. Of course, you can also find her on social media. And if for any reason you can't find her, please reach out to me and I will get you to her. What a joy to have you on. I love it when people talk about their passion, and it gets me excited. And that's what you do. And that's what you did today, talking about yours. So much love to you and Sean. I appreciate you. You guys evolve, get bigger, get better, grow, figure out what you want to do, find your purpose. And hold on, there's my please alarm. And that has nothing to do with you. Don't you love live? Reach out to Dr. Carrie Rose. You will not regret it. All right. Love you guys. We'll see you soon. Remember, it's this weekend, November 8th. Bye, everybody.